you all can hear me. Good morning. So I'm Ryan McMahon. I'm the Deputy Director of CHCI. Just want to spend a couple minutes talking about CHCI before I hand it over to Yao Sing so that he can present his research topic. So as Phyllis mentioned, CHCI is a little old. It was established back in 1995. However, we've accrued over nearly 80 faculty affiliates in 23 departments, 7 schools, and 5 colleges. In general, you know, HCI is very transdisciplinary by nature, and so our biggest focus is facilitating the community to make sure that we can connect those different fields together so that everyone can do the research that they want to on HCI. We're here to support that research and scholarship and the education as well. And we recently took a survey of our key areas of expertise, immersive experiences, VR, AR, social informatics and computing, human factors, digital arts and humanities, and more. Or if you look at our faculty affiliates, that's really where our strength areas are. I wanted to highlight some recent accomplishments by some of our faculty affiliates. So Dawei and Dylan both got NSF Career Awards last year, so kudos to them. That's a great job. And in general, our affiliates had several publications at top HCI conferences last year. So we had 16 presentations at ACM Chi, 12 at ACM CSW, 10 at IEEE VR, and 6 at IEEE ISMAR, which focuses on augmented and mixed reality. The last thing I want to do before I hand it over to Yao Sing is to highlight some initiatives that are going on with CHCI this semester. So we are starting to kick off our weekly CHCI seminar series again. These will be on Fridays at 11 a.m. in Gilbert Place, 3001. And our first seminar will actually be next Friday, January the 31st, with a PhD student visiting from CAST on personalized knowledge understanding support, aligning AI systems with how humans understand knowledge. We also have a critical computing reading group that is starting up this semester as well. They will meet Wednesdays at 3:15 in Torgerson 1100, starting next Wednesday, January 29th. So this was perfect timing Playdate, so you all have plenty of CHCI events to go to next week. And the goal of this reading group is to critically engage with computing research that seeks to have societal impact. And we have several of our great faculty affiliates that are leading that reading group. And then last but not least, our 9th annual CHCI workshop is going to be held on Friday, March the 28th. This will also be in Gilbert Place, 2124. We're continuing the theme of big ideas. And new this year, we are going to have a faculty CFP and a student CFP. So the faculty CFP will be very similar to previous years. The student CFP will be a hypothetical, what if you had $1 million, and we're looking for either individual students or teams of students to pitch their big ideas and talk about how they might change the world if they had $1 million. And one-page abstracts will be due Sunday, February the 16th by midnight. You should see the official CFPs go out either today or Monday from the CHCI listservs if you're on those. If you're not on those, feel free to contact us and we'll get you connected. And by the way, I do want to emphasize you do not have to be a CHCI member to present at the workshop, so everyone's welcome. And then finally, we will have our CHCI planning grants for large-scale research efforts. This is a call for internal planning grant proposals. The idea here is that these planning grants should lead to larger-scale funding, external funding from like NSF and other agencies or even industry. It's a 5-page proposal, and those will be due Monday, April the 7th. All right, so that's all I have, and now I will let Yao Sing come up and present his wonderful research topic.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Glad to be here and see everyone. My name is Yashing Yao. If you don't know how to pronounce the name, replace the X with SH. That's how you pronounce it. I'm an assistant professor in computer science. So for today, I will talk about a little bit about the research I do, just more generally, and then I'll give 2 quick examples to show some of the recent work we do. So the area I'm in is called usable privacy. So what does it mean is we help to make privacy information and controls more usable to users. So one of the things that we've been focusing on in the past 20 years or so is about usability, is how can we improve the usability in terms in systems and information and things like that. One of the very classic examples we always give people is about privacy policies. You all have seen things like this, and then it's impossible to read. You don't read it. It's hard to understand. So one of the things that the community has been doing is to turn this into something that's more understandable, which is a label. You probably see this somewhere. Or maybe not, but the idea is, from the food nutrition label where you get all the food nutrition, so we try to mimic that and make it more usable. So that's one example. So if you think about, the field, and then, here's technology, and that's your privacy, and you have the users in the middle, and this is really where we are. We're trying to help the users to fight against the privacy issues in privacy. Then we're in the age of AI, and everybody's talking about this. And then, it's fundamentally changing our lives, and with, from smart home assistants to all the tools that we're using right now for productivities. But from day one, the one thing that comes with the advancement in AI is about privacy. So if you have seen these news headlines out there, and it has been talking about all the issues or potential risks about in the context of AI, and so the things we have been seeing is AI has been pitched as an adversarial role in when we use the technologies, right? So it's more about, so when we look at AI from perspective of when we look at smartphones or computers or webs, and then we're still thinking about all the privacy issues there, which is true. But one of the things that I found is that that perspective is missing a critical part in the age of AI, because the privacy in the age of AI is much more complicated than just usability. It's fundamentally different than just usability. For example, it's more complex. We don't know how AI system works. It's with large language models. We don't know how how data is collected, how is it shared, how it's being trained in the model. AI systems are adaptive, which means that a lot of the privacy issues are changing, and we also need different solutions. The solution also need to be adaptive. And then finally, in the context of AI, privacy is not just about usability. It also intertwined with other values, for example, biases or surveillance or things like that. So essentially, if you look at this again, then the idea of usability in the context of AI is expanded into different values. Think about context, think about the needs of different users, think about different values. And then in this case, these days, I prefer to call the field I work in the human-centered privacy. So the idea of human-centered privacy is, from my perspective, it's a change in terminology, but more fundamentally, I think it also changes how we think about privacy issues, how do we address privacy issues, and then which may call for new methodologies, how we think, how we go ahead and start to address these issues, more complex issues in the context of AI. So one of the things we started thinking about is now we're thinking about talking in the age of AI. Can we leverage? It's so powerful. Can we leverage AI to help us address some of the issue? So we have been exploring two research questions. What if we can design AI to protect our privacy? What if AI system can work with us, learn our privacy needs and preferences, and help us make informed privacy choices, and even shield our information from, when we're vulnerable? So that's kind of where the direction I'm trying to go. So I call that the art of living together. We're not fighting against. Instead, we're trying to work with AI, live with that. So you see this actually from in our great nature. So you see that with the fish and coil, or with the bees and the flowers, they all live together very nicely. Different species, but they live together nicely. So in this case, if you think about this again, then we can work with AI to help. AI can work with us to empower people to protect our privacy. At the same time, AI can adapt to the privacy needs of different people with different characteristics. So that's what, I call that a symbiotic ecosystem. So that's what you see in the title. Anyway, so in today's talk, I would just basically show two very quick examples on the first aspect about how we leverage AI to empower people. And then if you're interested in the rest of the stuff, you can talk to me or invite me to give a talk. This is the part of a 45-minute talk, so I try to carve a piece out of that. So I'm going to talk about two projects that we're working on. So the first one is how we use AI to enhance users' awareness of privacy. So first of all, so let's imagine a case that where you're using ChatGPT. You use this a lot, and then you're trying to put the information to help, in this case, help me draft the resume template for a designer position. And then there's some information there. And then, as you can see, there are a bunch of personal information here, your name, phone number, email, stuff like that. So you're curious, how does ChatGPT use the information? So where do you find that information? How do you know that? You can do that from privacy policy. Here it is. Good luck. So this is the actual privacy policy from OpenAI, and then this is everything here. So if you're trying to find how they use your information, it's impossible to do that. So what we do is we build this nice little tool that can help users to achieve this goal. So I have a quick demo here.
When and only when a user inputs sensitive information into ChatGPT, this sensitive information will be identified and highlighted by our plugin. The user can click Know More to view AI-generated relevant privacy policies and potential privacy risks. Each category of sensitive information will have a corresponding tab, and users can also click Expand Text to view detailed information.
Yeah, that's basically it. So it's a nice short little tool, quick little tool that you're gonna use when you're interacting with ChatGPT. It's a plugin, and it works with ChatGPT works with Gemini, and then we're trying to expand that with all other tools. Basically, what it does is once you are trying to input some sensitive information, it's going to show you that. So what the implications, the impact, and give you some of this, the original, give you the context of how this information can be used to help you address that issue. So it's to preserve, to make sure that this is ethical. We are doing this by identifying types of information on device, not on the cloud, so that it doesn't go out of your device. And then it extract relevant privacy policy snippets using feature learning. We grounded the privacy risk generation in the credible sources using chain of thoughts. So in the example you saw, we grounded that into a bunch of the privacy literature that studies the privacy risks of AI. Of course, we can use other sources if needed. Then we have, it's ready to release as Chrome extension we built. You can download that soon, not right now, soon. And then it supports multiple user scenarios. So we built that to be compatible with ChatGPT. You can use that in Gemini, in all the Google products, and to help you do that. So it's based on LLM, and it's funded by Google. So this if you're interested, then I'm not going through all the technical details. So if you are interested, you can come talk to me, or we just had a paper on this 2 weeks ago by IUI, so you can also take a look at that. So we run a very quick user studies with the users, and then we try to figure out how users think about this. So first of all, we see that users we do see in an increased level of awareness from users to basically they start to learn things that they didn't know before, and they start to get more aware of those risks, as you can see from this example. And then, interestingly, we also see that once users start to notice, to see those, to have the more increased awareness, we start to see this behavioral changes that they would like to do something differently next time when they're interacting with the chatbots. So those are some good cues that just to keep us to continue working on this. We're thinking of launching more longitudinal studies to try to understand how this actually impact users in real world in different scenarios. So that's one example. And then the next example would be something that we use to audit black box systems. So I'll explain what is black box system. So for example, so this thing shows up on my Facebook page very often actually. I don't know why. First of all, I'm in computer science, and then my family do live in the Maryland area, so it makes sense that for university from that area give us things. But still, it's weird because I don't have anything right now, related to business. I have never shown any interest in doing some business stuff. I keep getting this, and then I was just curious, why do I get this? So if you want to try to find out why do you get this ads, and then you can click on that dot there, and you're gonna have this menu, and then if you look closely in that menu, you're gonna see there's a why I'm seeing this ads, and they try to explain why, and then it shows you for example, you interact with ads about home goods, retail, and vehicles, and how's that related to that? Right, so after going through this, you really don't know why you're seeing these ads. It's very weird. So to help user to basically understand how your data is being used and why you're seeing things like you're seeing on the web, we built something called Privacy Sandbox. So basically, it's a risk-free sandbox environment to help you to explore this connection between the information you are sharing and the system outcomes, in this particular case, advertisement. And so, it's all based, based the synthetic persona generation pipeline. It doesn't make any sense probably right now. I have a short video to show. And then the only thing I want to say that this is something that we can deploy. It's open sourced, and then if you're interested, you can actually try this out online. So the idea is very simple. If you want to explore that connection, you want to say, well, what if I click on this ads? Does that click on this in the post? Does that change the ads I see? You can do that on your Facebook page, but once you do that, your information, your preferences seems to be collected. It's already exposed, and it's out there. You cannot not change that. So the idea is very simple. Instead of you using your own Facebook profile, you use your own data to try that. We're trying to build a generated persona, and you can use the persona's data for that purpose. And then you can try to adjust the attributes of persona and feed that into the system, and then observe the advertisement outcome. So that's the idea. And then here's a short video to show that.
Bob, a financial analyst who wants to understand how his personal data affects online ads. Bob chooses the Create a New Persona button and starts by providing guidance to generate a persona that is similar to his own profile. In the input field, he enters financial analyst in Los Angeles, interested in online gaming and sports. This guidance serves as a seed or initial information. Upon receiving the guidance, the privacy persona approach generates a preliminary persona for Bob. This persona is synthesized based on real-world privacy incidents and is named Emily. Bob reviews the preliminary persona to modify any privacy attribute. He can make adjustments or proceed with the generated attributes. Satisfied with the profile, Bob proceeds to generate the detailed attributes of the persona. This includes weekly schedule with location records, the persona's device and browser in use, browsing history, and social media posts. Each part is generated to be consistent with the persona's profile. Once Bob is satisfied with the persona, he can save it for future use or experimentation. Bob can also choose to load other personas he has generated previously. Now, the moment arrives. Bob clicks on the Activate button, and the Privacy Persona approach uses a Chrome extension to replace his real privacy data with the synthesized data of Carlos, the artificial persona. Bob's privacy data, including his profile in the Google Ad Center, browsing history, real-time location, and IP address, are temporarily replaced. Bob is now Carlos in the online world. Bob can interact with websites and online services as usual, but online service providers will see him as Carlos. He can also switch to other personas' data to see how the system outcomes will change. As he explores, he observes personalized
Yeah, that's the idea. So I'll give a quick example of the changes in the advertisement. So in this case, if you see that, that's the persona, and that's our advertisement you see based on that persona. If you change the persona to a different person, and that's as you're going to see with this different person. So as you can tell, you can probably see the difference that it's a financial analyst that you see things that are related to from, I don't know, a Capital One or probably. And then for this one, this is because this lady, you're going to see women's shoes right there. So it says, users kind of try to, and then you can explore this and try to build the connections. So that's something we're trying to do, and then I'm running out of time. So I'm going to skip to the end and just to briefly talk about why this is important. Because we really want to give user a way to empower end users to auditing the black box systems. Like, for example, we have this new, not really new, but things about from the White House national strategies to advance the privacy-preserving data sharing and analytics. So a lot of these things are very complicated, and the users don't know the implications. So we can use the similar those systems. And for example, why do you get the insurance premium you get? And you can also try to use our system to do that. And then hopefully we're working towards to support other downstream tasks like privacy conscious software development practices. How does your software impact end users' privacy without injecting real data? So that's pretty much it. Thank you, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. What questions do we have?
So one of the first program you were talking about was funded by Google. And Google, of course, has Gemini, which is its own LLM and AI software. There's no conflict of interest, as far as I know. I believe you. But how do you get users to be on board and trust that this AI system is not yet another AI system to harvest their data?
That's a great question. So a conflict of interest as well. So just for that, and then because there's the conflict of interest that we're trying to we actually critique Google a lot in the paper because of the things that we found, and then they do not put their names on paper. So that's one thing. But anyway, so to your question, we try to make sure that we're identifying users' information on your own device locally. So we're not doing this on the cloud, so that it's at one extra piece of guarantees, and then I think that's the most thing. And then right now we're testing to build we can run a local small large language model, small language models to help us to achieve that task instead of trying to rely on some external services. And then a lot of these things that the tool does actually doesn't really require external resources. It's mostly generating. It helps users to understand the information that's already out there. Just provide another tool to help them understand that. So it's from that perspective, it's at least based on our user study, it seems to be okay. And at least it's also the case that we didn't brand anything on that related to Google. So so hopefully that helps. Yeah.
Hi, that was a really awesome talk. One curiosity I had about the personas, as you're kind of testing them, advertisements are often kind of adaptive, right? Infrastructure as well as industry has incentives to have smart models to start to learn based on queries from location, right? So when you're generating these personas, do you also kind of obfuscate like the IP, was it the VPN usage to obfuscate IP? And if so, could you explain that?
Everything. So with the personas, we want to build the profile very consistent to the description of persona. So right now, all the attributes we're using are based on the Google Ad Center in Chrome. So basically, whatever they are requiring there, we have in our system. IP address, including things like browser history, things like that like location, all those things we can basically fake it and then put it dump it into the Chrome instance. And based on the testing, it's fairly consistent, fairly accurate, and we're able to see about just very general, about 50% of the ads will change. Some of the ads will stay the same for all users, but there are at least 50% of those ads will change based on persona. And that's one, but right now, another student of mine, we're working on deploying this, well, actually, developing another system for the mobile context. So in the mobile context, including not only the data types from the ad sender, but also things like the gyroscope, proximity sensor, all those kind of sensors that in the mobile systems, which may or may not have impact on advertisement or some other things, recommendation you may get in the App Store, for example. Those things we're working on. I don't have a good sense of whether how well this is going to work, but something we're trying right now.
That's good. Megan, did you have
Hi, thank you, very interesting. So I was also thinking just about the context of some of the announcements of the week of like the White House taking down the AI Bill of Rights and also the government's plans to, sort of have their own AI developments and so forth. So I wonder if you're starting to think about the implications for personal privacy, just beyond targeted advertising for larger personal privacy concerns?
Yeah, so advertisement is really, so this is really a proof of concept. So we just want to see if this actually works, because ads is something that everybody you see every day, right? So we just want to see that if it will work on something that is so common out there. It looks like it's working. So other privacy risks that we're going to see, I talk about this thing, we call that PBDSA, privacy preserving data sharing analytics. So for example, you're using that on student record, for example, and and then we don't know, like differential privacy, you're applying differential privacy techniques on student record. And for decision makers or policymakers, you really don't know. Many of us, at least, don't know how do we set the correct epsilons to make sure that we're balancing the utility that the privacy protection you're getting versus the loss of data, right? So how do you do that? We can potentially explore using the same pipeline to help us to dive into that pile of work to help us understand. Hey, if I set this to be 0.5, what does it look like? If it's set this to be 2, what does it look like? Right? Things like that. So that's I believe there would be, as I say here, there would be other downstream tasks that I'm trying to explore. But right now we're just focused on the ads, just to be something as a starting point. Yeah.
We are at time, so I want to give an opportunity to give one more wonderful round of applause. Thank you so much for your work.
Thank you for having me.